Pick up a frog in winter. It feels like a rock. It doesn't move, it doesn't breathe, its heart is not beating. Its brain has gone completely silent. If you tapped it against a hard surface, it would make the same sound as a piece of ice. By every measure we have, it is dead. And then spring arrives, the temperature goes up, and the frog just wakes up, hops away, goes about its day like absolutely nothing happened. No damage, no memory loss, no side effects. Just a frog that was frozen solid for months and is now completely fine. This is not a myth. This is not an exaggeration. This is a real animal that does a real thing that science still finds extraordinary. And the way it pulls this off is one of the most mind-bending biological stories on the entire planet. Welcome back. Today we're talking about the wood frog, the animal that figured out how to die every winter and come back to life every spring. Why freezing kills almost everything else. Before we get to how the frog does it, we need to understand why freezing is so deadly. Your body is mostly water, so is every animal's. When water freezes, it expands and forms sharp ice crystals. Imagine those crystals forming inside your cells, the tiny building blocks that make up every part of your body. They would slice through cell walls like tiny knives. The cells would burst, the damage would be instant and total. This is why you cannot freeze a human and bring them back. This is why frozen meat looks different when it thaws. The cells are destroyed. The damage is permanent. So when scientists first studied the wood frog and realized it was freezing completely solid and waking up undamaged, they were genuinely baffled. Because by everything we knew about biology, this should be impossible. What the frog actually does. Here is where it gets incredible. The wood frog doesn't just freeze and hope for the best. It has a system, a step-by-step biological process that kicks in the moment temperatures start to drop. And it is more clever than anything a human scientist has designed. Step 1. The moment the cold arrives, the frog's body releases special proteins into its blood. These proteins act as signals. They tell ice crystals exactly where to form and where not to. The ice is directed into the spaces between organs and under the skin, the safe spaces, not inside the cells where it would cause damage. Step 2. The liver immediately starts working at full speed. It converts huge stores of sugar called glycogen into glucose, the same simple sugar found in your blood, and pumps it into every single cell in the frog's body. Blood glucose levels in the wood frog during freezing can reach up to 100 times higher than normal. In a human, blood sugar that high would be life-threatening. In the wood frog, it is the entire survival strategy. That glucose floods the inside of each cell and acts as a natural antifreeze. It keeps the water inside the cells from freezing. It stops the cells from shriveling and dying as ice forms around them. It is a perfectly engineered shield, made entirely from sugar, protecting every cell in the body from the outside in. Step 3. Everything shuts down. The heart stops, breathing stops, brain activity stops. Up to 70% of the water in the frog's body turns to ice. The frog becomes completely solid. If you found one under a pile of leaves in January, you would be certain it was dead. And in almost every way, it is. The only thing still alive is happening at the tiniest possible level. Inside each cell, surrounded by that wall of glucose, the most basic processes of life quietly wait. How long can it stay frozen? A long time, a very long time. Wood frogs in most parts of North America stay frozen for around 2 to 3 months, but Alaskan wood frogs, who live in one of the harshest climates on the continent, have been recorded surviving in a frozen state for up to 7 months. Temperatures in Alaska can drop as low as -18 degrees Celsius while the frogs are frozen solid. And here's something even more wild. In Alaska, winter temperatures can swing up and down dramatically. A wood frog might freeze overnight, thaw slightly the next morning when the sun comes out, and then freeze again the following night. Scientists have found that some Alaskan frogs go through this freeze-thaw cycle repeatedly across a single winter, and each time they survive it perfectly. They are not just surviving being frozen once, they are surviving being frozen, thawed, and refrozen over and over again. Waking up. When spring arrives and temperatures rise, the frog thaws from the inside out. The heart restarts. Breathing begins again. Blood starts moving. the brain comes back online, and within just 1 or 2 days of starting to thaw, the wood frog is fully active, hopping, feeding, and heading straight to the nearest pond to breed. In fact, because wood frogs freeze on land under leaf litter, rather than hibernating underwater like other frogs, the ground they're in thaws faster than the ice on ponds and lakes. This means wood frogs wake up earlier than almost every other frog species. They are the first ones up in spring, the first ones breeding, the first ones singing. They turned a near-death experience into a competitive advantage. Why scientists are obsessed with this frog? This is where the wood frog goes from being a cool nature story to something that could actually save human lives. Right now, over 100,000 people in the United States alone are on an organ transplant waiting list. One of the biggest problems is time. A donated heart can only survive outside the body for about 4 hours. A liver lasts around 12 hours. A kidney maybe 24 to 36 hours. That tiny window means organs are sometimes wasted. It means patients in remote areas miss out. It means the whole system runs under constant pressure. But what if you could freeze an organ, pause it completely, and bring it back to full function weeks later? That is exactly what researchers are trying to learn from the wood frog. If scientists can understand how glucose protects the frog's cells during freezing and apply the same idea to human organs, it could completely change transplant medicine. Organs stored for weeks instead of hours. More lives saved. The waiting list could shrink dramatically. A tiny frog that dies every winter and wakes up every spring might one day teach us how to save thousands of human lives per year. So the next time you walk through a forest in winter, think about what is happening just beneath the surface. Underneath the leaves, frozen solid, heart stopped, covered in ice. Hundreds of wood frogs are waiting. Not dead, not alive in any way we can easily measure. Just paused, patient, completely certain that spring will come. And when it does, they simply wake up and carry on. Nature figured out suspended animation millions of years before we even thought to dream about it. If this blew your mind, smash the like button. It genuinely helps this channel. Which part shocked you most? The glucose system, the 7 months frozen, or the fact that this tiny frog might help save human lives? Drop it in the comments. Subscribe for a new video every week. See you in the next one.